What's up guys, today I want to go over the Seeker Mine skill that we have here in the Division 2. This was one of my favorite from the first games and I was super eager to try it out here in the sequel. Now I am going over all the other skills that we have in the game in their own videos, so be sure to check those out and subscribe if that's interesting to you. First up, we have the Explosive Seeker Mine, your basic run-of-the-mill rolling ball of doom. Short cooldown with 47 seconds, 38,000 health, 169,000 damage, and a 6-meter radius. The main thing I like about this guy is the changing targets. If I notice there's a better opportunity after I've already sent it, that I can redirect this little guy to where I want him to go. And the tracking on this is way more consistent than the cluster that we'll talk about here in a second, and it certainly does the best in terms of single target damage. And with the shortest cooldown, it is potentially a spammable ability when you get the right gear and builds. All in all, a well-rounded perk. Next we have the Air Burst. This guy has a 70-second cooldown, 80,000 damage, but it sets enemies on fire, provided they're in its ring. So it's good on usage for crowd control if you can line it up right. Now a trend I'm noticing here, for at least myself, is the skills that you set on top of enemies instead of ones to track to them tend to be something I don't like unless they immediately detonate after setting the circle. If not, a lot of times the enemies move before they get there, and you've just wasted one of your skills. Now I have asked other people, and a lot of them tend to have the same issues, and have to devote a lot of time to get the trajectory right so they can make use of those skills. So if you're good at that kind of thing, then this is probably great for you, because it does do good damage and adds a fire effect to the enemy, which is super useful. Moving on, we have the Cluster. Now this is my favorite variant in terms of damage dealing ones. It splits into a bunch of little Seeker Mines and hunts down your enemies. It does pretty good damage, though is not as much as the other two, and is great for pulling a bunch of enemies out of cover to be mowed down. Now I will say that the tracking is less consistent than the first variant, like I said, and I have noticed that sometimes the mines blow up before they get to their destinations. But even with that stuff, I still like this one the best just because it is set and forget it kind of thing and does a bunch of damage to a bunch of enemies. I run this a lot with builds that have a lot of skill haste and are meant to have this used as much as possible. Last but not least, we have the Mender Mine. And this one is specific to the Survivalist specialization. It's a good little piece of equipment that acts a lot like the drone. It's mostly the same thing, but the duration is only 120 seconds, but it has twice the healing at 20,000 instead of 10,000. So it balances out. For me, I'll rock the drone over this one just because I think that's the best variant of the drone, and there are better Seeker Mines than this one. But I think it's reasonable to run this if you like this one and one of the other drone variants you'd like to run as well, while still maintaining a healing ability for both you and your allies. And it does get you out of a pinch since it has one of the fastest heals in the game. All in all, the Seeker Mine is pretty well rounded, and I wouldn't say that any of them are super bad, but some would require a little bit more work in order to get them to perform as optimally as they could and stay in line with the other skills that are great, like, say, the Hive. That's all I have for you guys today. Leave me a comment underneath this video about how you feel about the Seeker Mine. Like this video, it really does help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for future Division 2 content. With that, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.